Batwing, number 3, written by Judd Winnick, art by Ben Oliver. Last left off, Batwing was stabbed pretty bad, and then we got a whole fight scene between a hero named Thunderfall and Massacre, and then Batwing took a bunch of adrenaline, got in his bat suit, and came to save the day. Oh, and Thunderfall lost a hand. This issue picks up 11 years ago. There's some warlord who's taking a bunch of kids and training them to be soldiers or whatever. And he's being recounted of these two kids who were brothers, and they just wrecked shop. They killed everyone. Every armed man was met with a quick death, and they barely got their guns up at that. So these boys were standing above everybody. But then it came time for the women and children to be taken from the village, as I guess is tradition. And the brothers refused to let any of their own men bring harm to these people. And so they were like, the warlord, as he's hearing the story, is like, so why weren't they stopped? And he's like, we tried. They also killed all of our men. And to be fair, they say they beat those men. So maybe they weren't killed. But either way, the warlord hears about this and he's like, are you kidding? He's the dudes are kind of sort of like, should we have killed them? And he's like, no, are you kidding me? They are exactly what we want. Bring me these brothers. What are their names? And the one's name is Isaac, and the older one's name is David Zavimbe, who is our Batwing. So now we have a backstory. Then we get introduced to right now, and Batwing is taking the fight, but he's already pretty much dead on his feet. He's bleeding out. He's dehydrated. He feels like he ran 5 miles, but he's just like, all right, I just need to use all of my little Batwing tricks in order to take out Massacre. So he flies up in the sky, uses a grapple hook on Massacre, and just brings him up high so that, he can take him out. As he's up in the air, he whips him upwards, punches him back down to the ground, and he's like, cool, that should give me a minute. He goes and talks to Thunderfall, and he's like, hey, you're losing a lot of blood out of your stump arm. Can I go ahead and just heal that up for you? He uses a Batwing tech to do it. He's like, cool, now I'm going to fly you to the hospital, but I need you to stay awake on me. Thunderfall's like, he's behind you. And Massacre comes up, tries to get a shot on Batwing. Batwing blocks it and says how Thunderfall has earned nothing but death. He's not a hero. He deserves to die. Batwing, once again, he grabs Massacre by the face, activates a taser in his suit, shocks him, and he's like, cool, that should take him out for a while. And then he finds Thunderfall's arm. He's like, I could get this on ice. I have some liquid nitrogen in the suit. And then Massacre's already back up, takes the shot, and punches out Batwing. And again, he just keeps on going on and on, like, oh, Thunderfall, the kingdom, they're all evil, they're all bad people. You shouldn't be protecting them. And as Massacre's going for what seems to be a final strike, but at the same point, he hasn't really landed anything on Batwing yet, except for that, knife through the chest thing. Thunderfall uses his spare hand, gets Massacre away by shocking him with crazy whatever. And, he's defending Batwing because Batwing is the same sort of hero he was. He puts on a uniform and saves the people who are downtrodden, blah, blah, blah. We get a couple of narration panels that basically give backstory to the African Justice League, the Kingdom, and how there was a 30-year war. There was a genocidal dictator who took over the entire nation. There were warlords everywhere, and the Kingdom came up and just ended it. They stopped the warlords, and they brought peace to the country, and they're regarded as the highest of heroes. So Thunderfall passes out, but Massacre's finally out for a while, long enough for Batwing to get him up and take him to the hospital. And as the hospital's trying to heal him, get the bleeding to stop, Batwing questions him and be like, why is he after you? What is he saying with you guys being bad? And Thunderfall basically admits to it. He's like, he knows what the Kingdom did. We betrayed you all the people of Africa. 50,000 lost because of us. We have blood on our hands, so much blood, we deserve to die. And he dies. He doesn't survive either the trauma or the blood loss or whatever it is. He dies on the hospital table. And that's where we leave off the issue with Batwing saying the fight has just begun. But we also find out that the kingdom did something that makes Massacre feel justified, and it's true at the very least. I do really enjoy this issue. I've enjoyed Batwing for the entire part that we've gone on so far. I really like how they waited until this far in to give even the slightest hint of what is David's backstory, like, and how he was alive during this brutal time in their history, and he was trained as a soldier. He knows how to fight. It's more so than just, I just got a Batman suit and now I'm strong. It's no, he was a trained killer beforehand, and he's using it for the side of good. The entire fight scene, it's good. They occasionally use a silhouette, I think, a bit too frequently, but they use it stylistically, so like it works, but it takes away from the fact that, like, I don't know, it's such good coloring. The painterly style is so good, but the fact that some of the things are in silhouette makes me feel like, okay, I'm not going to finish both these characters in this panel, so I'm just going to use a stylistic thing where one of them is all blacked out. And I'm like, I guess, but it still feels a little bit like, okay, you had to pick and choose. But no, it's a good plot. It's great art, in fact. I'm more interested in the side stuff, everything going on around Batwing, than I am Batwing himself right now, but I feel like that's by design. I think we'll get to a part where I care about Batwing himself at a much later date. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 7. Solid read, very good. Would definitely check it out if you have not already. So yeah, looking forward to the continuing adventures of Batwing, Child Soldier.